There's lots of different methods for studying workplace mobbing, including surveys, for instance, that are very quite common. But when the rubber hits the road is when you say, this particular case is a case of workplace mobbing. And the great strength of many of Mellon Press's publications, and in particular of Kim Lewis's account of her son's experiences at Massachusetts and his death, is that here's a real case. Maybe we could take just 5 minutes if anybody wants to raise a question of Mrs. Lewis right here before we go on to other cases. Yes.
The first domino, the complaint filed against the professor, I might have known, but what was the nature of the complaint?
Joel includes it in his book, but I didn't include it here. The professor that he originally was connected to in his first TA assignment, he later had as a professor. And she played games and messed with him in ways that bothered him. And he attempted to call her out on that, originally without official processes, which didn't work. And so he made a formal complaint.
I personally find that very
Joel does get into details in his book, and I have some further thoughts, but.
Yes.
It's just a short comment that might be comforting. Denis Rancourt was full professor at University of Ottawa, and he went through something very similar to your son's situation. I don't know if you don't know Denis Rancourt. I mean, university police after him, banned from campus and so on. He was pictured or framed as a threat. He wasn't, obviously, and he was full professor. So I think it's a kind of scenario. There must be other cases out there. Ken must know them because he knows everything. Ken, do you know other cases where, you know, the target is pictured as a real threat, you know, almost a terrorist?
I think this is one of the most common accusations made against mobbing targets these days on university campuses. Namely that they're a time bomb waiting to explode. They're going to come in and shoot up the place. They're going to go postal. This is a dangerous person. That's the dominant. Well, I mean, you and I are both very familiar with Janice Harper's story.
Yep.
And she was accused that they had Homeland Security on investigating her for she was going to build a nuclear bomb on campus or somebody. So
yeah, but what I mean is that Rancourt and Mrs. Lewis's son were accompanied by police officers on campus. I mean, Rancourt couldn't walk on his own on campus. I don't think that happened to Janice. I'm not sure.
I think she was banned, I believe.
Was she? Okay.
But no, another Mellon Press published the book How to Destroy a Don by a man used a pseudonym. Graham Nanton was the pseudonym, but the author actually was Hugo Mennel, who was a religious studies professor at the University of Calgary. Mennel was of elite British origin. The Mennel family is blue-blooded, right? And he was this very genteel old codger, younger than me at the time, but around 60 years old or something like that when he was mobbed by colleagues. And the rule for him, they said he was a danger. The rule for him was that he couldn't come on campus, and he was one of those old-fashioned scholars who liked to use the library. And he begged, couldn't he please check books out from the library? So they worked out a procedure where he would drive to the edge of campus and be met there by a paddy wagon with security guards. And they would drive him to the library and wait outside while he went in to check out a book, and then put him in the paddy wagon again and take him back to the Hector Hammerly spent 3 days in jail, accused of being a threat on campus because he had referred to administrators as 10 little Indians, and the administrator decided that that was a reference to the Agatha Christie play in which 10 little Indians get murdered, and so he was going to murder these 10 administrators. So he ended up in jail overnight. So that's a very common kind of pattern with cases.
Yeah.
Are there
I
any?
also have one example about so interview it's real. One the target she was in a meeting. She was talking to the administrator. She said, well, this is like a deadweight loss because like a tax, nobody earn anything. It's like a deadweight loss. And then after that meeting, she was accused of, and then even during that meeting, 2 police come to her office, said we receive a report and someone is committed suicide.
I'm sorry, deadweight loss?
Deadweight loss.
Deadweight policy.
Oh, deadweight.
Deadweight loss. Then the target said nobody's committing suicide. And then later they said, oh, the union person was in the Zoom meeting the other side. She said, oh, that target person, she did mention something like a dead. Then after that, so immediately, then no committee said, but because of that, this target was forced to do a fitness for duty test. And she was forbidden to be close to the classroom. Just because of this, because she said this is like a deadweight loss.